First of all, am I the only writer here? Like, writer, that's all, oh my gosh, I feel terrible.
Well, a writer, journalist.
Okay, but
And I
like,
do
I'm
do
a
creative writing,
fiction, that's my only gig kind of thing, so. Just in defense of writers, yes, there are some lazy ass writers out there who just, yeah, they're like, oh, I know what crazy means. You know, I can diagnose crazy. But a lot of them too, just be aware, like they're working within the limits of a structure, and think how long the average therapy session takes, how many of those go on before you start to understand yourself, let alone other people, and you can't squeeze that into a 2-hour movie. It's just the realities, and it's about drama for them. They're, for the most part, not trying to represent something accurately, they're trying to represent it funly, or horribly, as the case may be. So just being aware of that. And the other thing is, going off what you said, you know, what are some positive or helpful or real life depictions? Here's the most real depiction is yourself as you read these stories. Because the reason we read these stories is we are defining our own mental DNA. It's one of the very few areas where we actively participate in the process of self-creation. I mean, look this way, and that's my parents' fault. I have very little to do with it, other than the fact that I try and make sure not too much hair is sprouting out of weird places, you know? But when we choose to read a story or watch a movie, a radio, whatever it is, yeah, I still listen to the radio, we are then creating new versions of ourselves that have minor at times and sometimes major echoes of the characters we're reading. I mean, the reason Lord of the Rings is so powerful is partly because it's an awesome story, and partly it's because I am Frodo. It's partly because I see Samwise and I go, that's me when I am a helper, you know, and also maybe a little bit of an enabler. And so one thing to be aware of, you know, from an entertainment, a fandom perspective is you go into these things and they rub off on you. And that's something that people with mental health problems have to be aware of. You can love a story and it can hurt you. I read a book that was so good, so neat. I knew I was going to go back to it, and I called my wife and said, rip this up, please, and throw it away, because it was bad for me. And that's something I really like to encourage people to do, even if they don't have over mental health issues. Choose your media wisely. And if it's doing something bad, walk out of the theater. This is different than a trigger, like PTSD, big triggers, you know. Even with other things, I see certain things and it makes a reaction. So this isn't necessarily you stand up and go, I can't believe they didn't post a warning. It's just, this is starting to make me go down a bad road. It's time to leave.
Well,
And
that's
don't be
just being
afraid of that.
responsible for yourself too, which I'm a big fan of people being able to say, like, if I know my audience is going to experience a trigger, maybe I should say something, but I don't believe that it's their responsibility. I feel like it's my responsibility to take, you know, good stock of what I'm able to tolerate and then respond to that from an adult perspective. And if I can't do that, then I really shouldn't be making those decisions for myself to begin with. And that's
That's why I got married, so I wouldn't do that.